Hi friends, Amy Astrab with Ad Astra Stamping. Just wanted to come and share some of my cards with you today. I am going to be working with the Sweet Ice Cream bundle, which includes this Sweet Ice Cream stamp set and also the Ice Cream Cone Builder Punch. So I will talk about these a little more and how to get them later on in the video, but right now I'm just going to get straight to the cards because I know that's what you're looking forward to. So I'm going to turn this camera down, we'll get going. So our first card today, I am using the punch, and I am using also the die set called Stitched Be Mine. I will use this on another card as well, but it's a great set. It's got some dies in it. This is the die cut I used to do this stitched heart. It does not actually cut it out. It just makes an indentation where you see the stitching. Looks like you have a stitched heart. So I added that to a white cardstock panel, and I apologize, I did not write down the sizes of some of these right now. I don't know off the top of my head. I have got a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base that is going to be in cinnamon cider cardstock. I've got the Whisper White, which is now the basic white panel, and then layered underneath it I have a couple of scrap pieces of mint macaron, just for a little extra pop of color. As you can see, it doesn't even go in the corners, but I liked the difference, and I did pop those up with dimensionals. So the green layer and white layer are popped up off of the card base, and then I simply took the cinnamon cider cardstock, punched the cone with the Ice Cream Cone Builder Punch, which I will show you now. And I punched these separately. You just stick your cardstock in there and you get a quick punch. And then I got this nice little waffle cone look by using one of the stamps out of the set. It does have the waffle on it, and I did that in Versamark ink. If you're not familiar with Versamark, it just darkens whatever color cardstock you are working in. So I just inked it up, stamped it on there. You're just not going to cover the whole thing. Now I have seen a few of the different ones online where they have made it look like you see waffle cone on all of it. I played around with it. It was way too much work, and I think it's just as cute the way it is. So I left it like that. Now, for the ice cream, I used colored cardstock, but I did also go back and stamp them with Versamark and the ice cream stamp, just to give it a little more pizzazz. It's something you do not have to do, but you certainly can do. And I did the ice cream the same way I did that cone. I simply took and put the colored cardstock in there, gave it a quick punch after I had already inked up the cardstock. Now, the sentiment comes directly from this set. It is You Melt Heart, which is why I put the heart background in there. And I also added some dripping to make it look like it's melting. So there is a couple of stamps in here that I will point out to you. There is one that's actually a little drip of ice cream, as you can see here. And this one is actually supposed to be the wood on the popsicle stick, but I used it to create my own little drip of the green, the mint macaron ice cream onto the pink ice cream. By the way, that pink is Blushing Bride. In case you're curious what colors I use, that's mint macaron, Blushing Bride, and cinnamon cider. Blushing Bride ink for the sentiment, and then you'll see these little pearls that I added. tip I wanted to show you on those, I did not have the right color of pearls that I wanted to add to this. So I simply got out my white pearls and my Just Jade. I took the dark Just Jade alcohol marker. They are called blends. And I'm going to do this on a bigger one just so you can see it a little better. You just take, this one's loose, so it's going to move around on me. Just take your Stampin' Blend marker and just color that ink on there. It works a lot better when it's stuck down. This one is loose. Of course, I picked the loose one to do that on. Now you will want to be careful if you get this alcohol ink on the sticky back on these pearls. They don't stick very well, and you will need to use a little glue dot to stick them down with. But they color wonderfully well. Once they're colored, it does not rub off. It's once it's dry, it stays on there. You can see I did one of the pink ones the same way. So that is card number 1. On the inside, I made this a thank you card. So again, the stamp set has a thank you, which I still have actually blocked up. And then it has a sentiment with sprinkles on top. And then I used the little stamp with the sprinkles on it in the same colors, the Blushing Bride and the Mint Macaron, just to kind of add a little fun background. Thank you with sprinkles on top. So that is card number 1 with this stamp set. Card number 2. Now I have these all pre-stamped and basically ready to assemble. So we'll go through these relatively quickly. Card number 2, I am using similar colors. And we're just going to put this together right here on camera. So I have got my standard white card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 is your outside dimension here once it's folded. I am going to put on a layer of Magenta Madness. Now I could do this very uniform and get this all centered up. I want this card to be a little more quirky and fun. So I am going to not worry about getting these panels all exactly, everything squared up and even. We are just gonna go a little bit offset with our layered panels. As long as nothing's overlapping, we're good. So you will see that I do not have that straight and squared up. My next one, I have used the Happy Birthday out of that same stamp set. I love that this set comes with so many wonderful sentiments. So we're using that Happy Birthday stamp set. Again, I used the Versamark. I kind of wished I had done it in the cinnamon cider instead. I think it would have given just a little bit better impression on there, but I didn't, and we're going to go with it. I actually gave it a couple of whirls and was not happy with what I got on those either. So I went with what I'm happiest with, which is this one. And like I said, we are going offset, so it's not going to be squared up. And then I took the Blushing Bride. This is cut out with the Stitched Shape dies. That set comes with circles, squares, and ovals, I believe, in different sizes of stitched shapes. I've got the largest square stitched shape out of that set in Blushing Bride. And on that, I have taken the ice cream, or not ice cream cone, the popsicle stamp. And it's actually a couple of stamps. So I do want to show you how I did this one because it is a little bit different. You've got, let me get my block here. You've got a top and a bottom to this popsicle. just get some scratch paper here. So when you are stamping this, pardon my arms in the camera there, we get this Magenta Madness so that we can just go ahead and ink this up for demonstration purposes. Okay. I inked up, this is the bottom of this popsicle. Now, if you wanted an image that looked like you had taken a bite out of it, you would be good to go just the way that is. Now, you will also notice that this is one of those distinctive stamps. So if you over ink it, it's going to be grainy. I'm going to ink this or stamp this twice. I've got a much lighter image there. Clean this off before I get coated in Magenta Madness. And now I'm going to do the top of this popsicle. I don't want it to look like it has a bite taken out of it. So I am going to line this up with these photopolymer stamp sets. It is really easy to do. And I want to just kind of get rid of that white center. So I'm going to go down like that. And up, and there you have your popsicle. I'm going to do it stamped off as well. And I got that one a little off center. It's not as easy to do upside down when you can't get right over top of it, but you get the idea. And then you just add your popsicle stick at the bottom. Now, I mentioned earlier that there was a wood grain for that popsicle stick. I did not do that part, and let's go ahead and add that now. When I first saw it, I was completely not sure at all what it was supposed to be. I thought it was a drip, and it definitely works as a drip on your ice cream. But in looking at what others have done online, I realized it is actually supposed to be the wood grain on the popsicle stick. So let's add that now. And I have done that in cinnamon cider on cinnamon cider. So there is a popsicle stick that's solid. We've added the wood grain to that popsicle stick. Let's get that out of the way and finish layering our card. Now on this one, I wanted to add a little pop of white underneath the sentiment. So I got some of this wonderful white flax ribbon. It is 5/8 inch wide, and it's just got a lot of texture, and I really, really like it. It adds some pizzazz to it. So that is what I have got here, and I did not measure it. I just made it a shade bigger. I didn't even measure it, really. I just made it a bit bigger than my rectangle, and I am just going to use my Stampin' Seal to pop that on the back, somewhere just about 2/3 of the way down. Just want enough tape on there to kind of hold it in place. And then I am going to glue that down. As you'll notice, I have some stamping on the back of that because I practiced first. And always remember, if you mess something up or you're not as happy with it as you want it to be, there are two sides to cardstock. And there we have our happy birthday. Hope it's sweet. Was added right to the front. It could have been stamped inside, but I wanted it right there. I thought it added a little bit of pizzazz on the front of this card. So there is card number 2. Very quick, very simple, very easy to make. We're going to move on because I had a fun time playing with this set, and I have got several to share with you. Most all of these are done in the same basic colors with a few changes. This one again is on your standard white card base. We are going to go landscape this time instead of portrait. What I have done with this panel of cinnamon cider, I took again the Versamark stamps, or Versamark ink, and the sprinkle stamps out of the set. This one here. And I just repeated until I had a nice pattern all the way around. You'll see there's nothing in the middle because you know what? We're going to cover that up. So this one I do think I want to try to square this up or put it on there nice and even. So I'm going to get a little glue down here. And I'm just going to get that as centered up on here as I can. Everything looks fairly square, fairly nice and even. Now I have added 3 different popsicles on here, all in the Magenta Madness ink with cinnamon cider popsicle sticks. I'm not going to bother to add the wood grain to these. I think they look just adorable just the way they are. I have used the So Sentimental dies. I believe that's what they're called. That look like the little postage stamps out of the annual catalog. Stitched So Sweetly, they're called. And this is, I believe this is the smallest one. I have stamped on here in cinnamon cider, treat yourself. And we are just going to add some dimensionals to this. Pardon me while I find all of my tools. Don't have my take your pick tool handy, so I'm just going to grab my pick. I'm going to pop this up. I want a little extra dimension and pizzazz on this. So we're going to add some standard size dimensionals. Make sure I get that right side up. Now I have already gone ahead and attached some colored beads. Some of the pearls that I colored in with the Balmy Blue Stampin' Blends ink. That is an alcohol marker. And I added some Magenta Madness colored pearls to my Balmy Blue sentiment. And I am just going to glue that on there. Now, I don't know about you ladies. I don't let anything go to waste. This was a piece of Balmy Blue that had a sticker on the back. It was a sample set that I had gotten. Oops, covering up my pearl. And I no longer needed it, but I didn't want to waste it. So I just used it to make a sentiment out of. So there you are. Card number 3 is done. We are going to just move right along to card number 4. Card number 4, I have again used the Balmy Blue that I introduced on this last card. I have cut out a Balmy Blue large piece out of the, I believe they're called the nested stitched shapes or something like that. And Balmy Blue ink on the front. I just took the ice cream cone, not the cone, but the ice cream itself, and stamped it randomly in Balmy Blue on my card base, just in different, like I'd stamp and then I'd stamp off. So there's 2 and 3 generations of ink, and I turned it different directions. I just wanted kind of a random pattern underneath. It looks a mess when it's by itself, but we are going to pop some other things on top of it, and I think it's going to look really cute. So we're going to take our cutout here in the Balmy Blue. Before I glue this down, I've got some ribbon that I want to put on, and we're going to also do this. So I've done a smaller one. This is 2 sizes smaller out of that same set in the basic white. I am going to just glue that on. I've already stamped the ice cream cones, made my little waffle stamps on them, added my sentiment, "You're so cool," out of the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set. And I added some yellow. I believe that is Dark Daffodil Delight that I colored those pearls in. I am just going to glue that right on, right on there. And I wanted this to be just not quite centered. I want it a little higher because we are going to put our ice cream on top of our cones here in a minute, and I want them to stick above everything else. And we're going to put our ribbon down here below. Now I have pre-tied a bow in this ribbon, and I think I want the bow to be more over here because I've got my pearls over there. So what I'm going to do, I could use a tape runner. Seems like it would be just a bit too wide. So what I'm going to do is use some of these mini glue dots. I am just going to place them right on this Balmy Blue. I don't want to. I want to stick to, I've got just a little bit of glue on this pick, and they are wanting to stick on my pick onto that other glue rather than onto the cardstock, so I do apologize for that. If I can get it to let go. And we'll get one more. I know you think as demonstrators everything goes smoothly for us all the time. Trust me, it does not. It does not always work as planned, but that's life, right? Okay, so I've got my ribbon started, and I'm just going to tuck it onto the back with a little bit of the tape. The Stamp and Seal tape is truly quite wonderful. I am very happy with it. I have not gotten used to using it as far as if you don't end it just right, and it kind of gets bound up and you have to forward it manually. And that's just because it's a bit different than the old one, and I'm used to the old one. So there we go. Wrap that around. Stick it down to our tape. I'm just going to leave that tail because it's going to get glued down. All right, so there we've got our ribbon on there. We're going to go ahead and glue this down to the front of our card now. I did the punches I punched some chocolate ice cream, which is actually early espresso ink. I wanted it to be a different color than the cinnamon cider. Now that is first generation. This is second generation. So you could decide which you thought looked more like chocolate ice cream, but I think I am going to opt for the darker. And then I did the same thing with So Saffron, which is a nice yellow, because I wanted a vanilla cone and a chocolate cone. So I think what we're going to do, we could do one of two things. We can either do 2 vanilla and 1 chocolate, or 2 chocolate and 1 vanilla, but I think we're going to go with the 2 vanilla and 1 chocolate right in the center. And I think I'm debating whether I want to glue that or pop those up. I think we're going to glue them flat. So let's go ahead and get this onto our card front. I want that probably just a little bit lower on the card base, because our ice cream cone, or our ice cream, will sit higher on our cone. I'm going to do the 2 vanillas first because they are going to slightly overlap, and I want that chocolate to be on top of the 2 on either side. You don't necessarily need to have those exactly straight, because they don't need to look all exactly alike. So if they're a little crooked on the sides, that's fine, because it's ice cream. It's not supposed to be exactly perfectly even. So there you are, card number 3. I believe on the inside of this one, I am going to stamp happy birthday. But I will do that a little bit later. All right, clean up a bit here. All right, I believe we are on what, card number 4, card number 5, something like that. Okay, so this, again, we are going to do a landscape style card. You're going to see that I have a couple of little green drips on there. Those are intentional. So I've got the mint macaron that I have stamped the drips on. And I have got this Blushing Bride panel. It is a little smaller on purpose. I didn't want it to be, just the same as all of my other cards. So I made it about 2/3 of the card base, and I stamped You Melt My Heart on it. And this stamp, or this die cut, is from the Stitched Be Mine set again. I have used this little guy here to create that. Now, when I did that one, when I cut that out before I did the die cut, I used, and I don't know that we carry it anymore, but you should be able to get it in a local craft store. I used some of the Sizzix adhesive sheets. Now, these are double-sided sticky sheets. You peel it off, stick it to your cardstock, do your die cutting, and then you peel the backing off so that it's like a sticker. And that is the quickest, easiest way for these very finely detailed die cuts. To me, that is the quickest, easiest way. Now, when I cut that out, I harvested a whole bunch of little hearts from the inside that I can use for another project, and they are indeed also like little stickers. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's very tiny, I know. So bear with me. But you just pull the backing off, and you have got a sticker that does not come off. So that's how I did that off camera before we started. Okay. And I am doing a mint macaron ice cream on this one. I've got my cone and my ice cream already pre-punched, pre-adhered together, and ready to adhere to my card front. Before we get started on this one, see, that's going to go like that. And you're going to see the little ice cream dripping down here. So that is the idea behind this. And I am trying to remember, yes, I wanted to put my ribbon on prior to adhering everything else. So this is the cinnamon cider ribbon. Show you what that is. So it is, this is a 1/4 inch woven ribbon. It's in one of the new in colors for 2020 through 2022. I really like this color. It is a fabulous shade of kind of cinnamony brown that I have been really enjoying working with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do kind of like I did before. I am going to get a little adhesive onto the back of this panel. I really like using the Stampin' Seal tape or tape runner of your choice to do that with. Because if I don't get it exactly where I want it the first time, it does give me a little bit of flexibility of moving it. It keeps it nice and taut on there without making it too tight. So now that I've got that on there, I'm going to go ahead and glue this panel to my card front. Well, if my glue will work for me. Got a little clogged up there, I think. There we go. I think we've got it. Woo! There we go. A little too big of a squirt. That's quite all right. You know what? We can deal with that. We're just going to grab a card, piece of leftover cardstock, and we're just going to smush that around a little bit. I don't want that oozing out all over everywhere. So we'll just smush it around a little bit. And then see if we can't get a little bit more. Because that is a lot more glue than I typically use on a card. All right, now, like I said, I've already got my melting ice cream pre-stamped on this base just below where I want this pink panel to sit. So I don't want to cover that up. I'm going to go up high enough so that you see those. And then I've already put some of the Stampin' Dimensionals. And yes, these look funny because I don't waste a bit of it. These are just the edge pieces off of one of my empty dimensional sheets. But they work just the same. Now I am just going to pop this right over here. I want the ice cream to just kind of sit right there above those drips. And voila, you melt my heart. That could be a Valentine, that could be a birthday card, that could be just about anything that you want it to be. Now, that's all I've got already prepared as far as cards go. And I just, I may come back on another time and do another video for you that does some more because I have had just a great time playing with this. And as I was playing around, I got to using the blending brushes, and I don't know if you have seen the new blending brushes or not, but they are really great. I would highly recommend them, and I do want to use those to do some blending and use the punch to punch the ice cream out because it just looks creamy and yummy, and I think it's going to work really, really well. So hopefully I'll be back on here, or at least post some pictures on Facebook. So find me on Facebook if you're not already following me there. And look for those coming up here shortly in the near future. But do go online, look for the sweet ice cream stamp set and the coordinating punch, the ice cream cone builder. Those are on, they are in the new January to June mini catalog, and they are on page 49. They come with a whole variety of papers and ribbon and sprinkles for the ice cream and all kinds of wonderful things to coordinate with. So I do hope you'll check that out either online or in catalog, whichever you prefer. And you can shop with me at adastrastamping.stampinup.net, or just go right on to the Stampin' Up! Website and search for Amy Astrab. I am in Missouri, near Branson. Hollister, Missouri is where I reside. So if you're local, or even if you're not, you can still shop with me online. Feel free to contact me, shop with me. I would appreciate all of your feedback, and your comments are very, very welcome. If you want to be on my email list, adastrab@ymail.com is where you can email me, and I would be happy to add you to my list. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day, and happy stamping!